think this is going to work today.
We're good. Yay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're so happy to be here with you today for elevating your business through the Akashic Records. Thank you for your patience. We were trying to do this last week, but we had some Mercury retrograde technological issues, and we are now back. We do not let it get us down, right, Kara?
No, we're back. Mercury's direct, good energy, right? We're away from that powerful full moon energy. So this is feeling like the perfect time to have this discussion.
For sure, for sure. So, all right. So everybody, if you can see us and hear us, please say hello. Please let us know where you're tuning in from. My name is Laura Mazzotta. I'm the Akashic therapist. I am a spiritual healer and teacher. I've also been a therapist for almost 20 years. And Kara, could you introduce yourself, please?
Absolutely, Laura. Yeah. So I guess title, I'm always changing my title, but lately it's been astrologer. So I love working within the realm of the Akashic Records like yourself, because that really does help us tap into our higher self, our highest potential for our life. And I combine that with work in astrology. So I'm also a master astrologer. So I love bringing both together and using that space to really support light workers, healers, visionaries, creatives in getting their message into the world and receiving abundantly for it. And as we'll dive into today, and I know Laura and I have both experienced this, working in the Akashic Records accelerates your business results. Like, it's amazing what you can achieve in that space, what you can create, what you can call into when you're just so aligned to your higher self and the highest potential and possibilities. It's really amazing.
It is. And you know what it also is easy. I'm trying to share this out. Sorry.
Yeah,
it's just easy because, you know, when you're an entrepreneur, when you have your own business, you can get into so many positions of, I'm racking my brain, right? Like, I'm trying to figure out what to do next and strategy and all of this. And I'm not saying that strategy isn't part of it, but when you have the ability to access divine intelligence to guide you in the direction that not only it's not the direction that you want to, that your conscious mind is committed to because you need or want a certain amount of money or a certain level of success. Like, there's no egoic agenda involved, and they just get to bring through like what's in the highest good for others as well, which means that, you know, you're always in a space of service.
Yes, which I love that, because I think it's like, it's our ego that often does hold us back. It's like the ego that places these limitations, these fears that I know I've seen come up time and time again with my clients. Like, who am I to share this work? Or there's so many people already doing this. Like, we're not, I did a post on this yesterday. Like, we're not unique in those fears. We all have them, we all share them, but we're also called to elevate beyond them. And I find being in the realm of the Akashic Records, like you said, allows us to do that. Like, we're becoming that channel for infinite intelligence, and we're connecting back to our soul. Because I think, like, our ego and our mind always has a plan, right, of what we want to create, what we want to achieve, but then we come back to what's actually in our path, what's actually aligned. And doing that in and of itself, I find, really begins to build momentum, because we have these like ego ideas of what we want to create or experience in the world, right? Like, we, especially in the online space, we can look around, we can see what other people are doing, what they're achieving, and we can begin to think like, okay, should I be doing this, right? Should I be bringing in this money? Should I have this program? Should I launch in this way? And it doesn't always resonate with our blueprint. So when we come back to like, what does my soul actually want? What's in my blueprint? Everything shifts. It doesn't mean we don't have challenges or obstacles, but we just feel like we're on our path and we feel supported. And overall, I find it does, like you said, it does make it easier, a lot easier when we're in that space of alignment.
Well, you have that clarity. It's so nice, because I like to say that that the Akashic Records are my spiritual supervisor. You know, like, I used to, when I was, you know, training in grad school, and then afterwards for my licensure for therapy, I had a supervisor, and I had a supervisor who I was doing like my process notes with for sessions and things like that. And it's just so funny, because I'm like, oh, I just hired a new supervisor, and they happen to be the Akashic Records. And it's so great, because like, when I have like, you know, a challenge with a client or a challenge with work or whatever, I'm just like, all right, I'm just going to ask my spiritual supervisor, and we get to tune into that 24/7 and just have so much clarity.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%. And like in terms of my business now, like almost all of my programs I feel are channeled from the records.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I'll get an inspired idea, which I'm sure it's still coming from the records, right? And divine intelligence, because that's what I'm just open to. But I'll actually open the records, even creating sales pages or everything. And I'll just be like, what is meant to flow through, right? How can I say this? How can I reach the clients and the people that are meant to receive this? And it's so much fun because we're not just relying on our human strength, right? Because it's a lot that we kind of have to juggle in our business. So to look at, okay, how do I create the sales page? How do I reach the people that are meant to reach this? And we have all these steps. So we can just step back, open the records and allow it to flow and be in that co-creative dance. It takes a lot of pressure off ourselves and our ego mind that might say, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what to share. I don't know where to go. It's like, well, a part of you does. It's just tapping in and accessing that part of you that has that information.
Yeah. And I love that so much because I was just thinking that earlier this morning. I think I was like, oh, I haven't sent an email out to my email list today or this week. I was like, I wonder what I should send. And then I thought, oh, I'll just ask the records and they'll bring through whatever they need to hear. Yeah. And I don't have to think about it. I can immediately, as soon as it comes into my mind, I can immediately put it down and say, that's so easy. Like everything's easy, you know, even doing lives like this or doing my courses or master classes or whatever, I can literally just show up because it's not me. I'm just the vessel to bring the information forward. I'm not creating it. I mean, obviously if there's structure around it, I do that as dictated by the records. But I was just talking to a client this morning who, you know, was talking about her gifts and having trouble with sleeping. She was having trouble with insomnia and she's really expanding a lot. She's in my certification program right now. And I said, well, yeah, you can't sleep because they're knocking on the door, you know? And so like at one point she's having trouble because she's like, oh, am I able to bring things through in the way that I think? And then she's saying, you know, I can't sleep. I'm like, well, there's your opportunity because they're calling to you at that time. Because every course I've downloaded has been at like 1 o'clock in the morning. Right? I'm like, oh, it's so awesome. I can't sleep. And then I wake up, I'm like, all right, I'm listening. And then the whole course comes in.
I feel like when at night we're in a less resistant space, especially with like, you know what I mean? Like we're more in a space where we're ready to receive and hear the guidance because during the day we have our routine or we have our own agenda of what we want to do. So it's harder to hear that information. But if we're lying in bed at night, we're in a space where we can then receive it. So I find that's so common. I remember even years ago, because my background's in counseling too, when I was working as a psychotherapist, I would tell people to keep like a journal by their bed and even just record their dreams or record what's coming through at night. Because if we capture that right away, there's a lot of information. I even feel from our subconscious as well. I think our subconscious is like sending us signs and information at night. And then also, of course, divine intelligence. So we're receiving, like when we have a question or problem, and this is one thing I've learned from the records, the solution and the answer is always there. Right? It's like we can't have a problem without having the solution also being created. But in order to receive that solution, we have to be a match to it. So we have to also be open and ready to receive. So that's why I think at night we receive a lot, but also even just taking that space during our day to like meditate or be in the records so we can actually receive the guidance that wants to come through and is coming through for us. We have to give it that space to be able to receive it.
Yeah. And I think it's really important to bring up too, when we're talking about this, that a lot of people do have anxiety before they go to bed. Like that's one of the most common things that I've seen in my clients over the years is that they have so much anxiety because it gets quiet or they're in a space where they're being called to be quiet, to slow down, right? And they have trouble with shifting that pace. And so it's funny too, because there's a lot of my clients who have had anxiety that have come into their gifts and followed the spiritual path. And I've just noticed how much of a correlation there is with that. Like realizing when you're having that anxiety at night, it's not just about using those tools and tips to slow yourself down and to realign, but also to see where's the opportunity in this to open up that space that you were talking about. You know, like this anxiety is coming up because it wants to be released so that I can make space for whatever's going to come through in my dream time or whatever.
Yes. Oh, I love that. And that changes everything. I think when we can see those anxieties or fears as not something to be afraid of or to close off or to run from, but actually open up and say, what is this trying to show me? How can I be with this
Mhm.
emotion? How can I be with this energy? And with the intention to allow it to shift, right? Which I
Yeah.
think emotions naturally do if we're not fighting them. Like we allow that to
Right.
come up, we experience, and it will shift. It's yeah, I think it is when we like get quiet at night or we slow down, everything that we've been shoving down that's trying to get our attention is like, hey, look at this. So I love that you've seen that transition too, of people actually awakening to their spiritual gifts
Mhm.
from like that feeling of anxiety and being willing to sit with it and allow it to evolve and allow it to teach them. That's huge. And even as somebody like I've experienced a lot of anxiety in my past, and working in the Akashic Records has actually healed and shifted that in ways that no other technique I've learned in psychology or counseling has been able to do. And I've actually seen that for so many clients, even if that's not our intention going into the records, right? Or doing a
Right.
work together. It's like they're just happier, like they're feeling better. Their anxiety has gone down, and it makes so much sense. But it's amazing. I've actually seen that quite a few times, and I love seeing that transition and shift.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that so much because that's exactly why I am doing this course now called Thrive, because it's for people with chronic symptoms, and they can be chronic mental health symptoms, they can be chronic emotions, they can be chronic physical symptoms. But that's what I ran into too, was not just my own anxiety that I was in therapy off and on in my life from the time that I was young. And did it help? Yes, I think it kind of maintained me at a certain level of functioning to a degree, but it
Yeah.
also didn't open me up to the level of amazing that I didn't even know was possible, that I've had my eyes opened to within the Akashic Records. And I
Right.
didn't go into it for that. I went into it for physical healing and received this amazingly brilliant byproduct of like having, and so what I noticed was clients that I'd had for years that really worked so hard on themselves. They really worked hard, and they really had good intentions and put their effort in, and then they felt like they'd hit their head against a wall every time and they were falling down and they weren't moving forward because it was deeper than that. It was either past life related or ancestral related or energetic. And
True.
so that's why I feel very strongly that therapy is one layer, the medical field is one layer, and it's very effective and it's a great supportive tool, but it's not everything. And when you're looking for really long lasting change, I found more in this work than in 20 years of therapy, both for myself and being a therapist.
100%. Oh, I agree. And again, I've learned so many helpful tools from counseling, like the awareness of my thoughts, mindfulness, so many beautiful tools. But like you said, it didn't feel like it healed it. Like now that I work in
No.
the records, I feel like I can say like anxiety and depression is healed. And
Yeah.
again, I'm saying this just from my experience. And it really just adds, like you say, that deeper layer, because often it is a past life pattern. It is the soul contract. It is something that's like in our ancestral line that's been passed along generation.
Mhm.
And especially I find anxiety, that's a common pattern that didn't
Yeah.
probably originate with you if you're experiencing it, right? Like that's
Yeah.
probably been passed along. So when you open the records, you can actually, well, you get a larger perspective on it. You can see your higher self's perspective. You can see how it fits into the larger storyline. But I feel like you can also go back and look at, okay, where's a past life where this pattern was also playing out, and heal that.
Mhm.
And as you heal it, you also heal it in the now, since really everything's happening in the now, right? So we can
Yeah.
travel into a past life, but if we're healing and doing work and gaining information, it's changing that pattern in the present moment. And it's just incredible. Yeah.
It's so
So,
incredible. And
all of it.
what's so cool too is just us as practitioners, like even before I started doing the work with my clients directly, I
Mhm.
was attuned to the space of the Akashic Records. I was doing this work, my frequency was higher, and I started noticing subtle energetic shifts in those clients who had chronic symptoms. And then with the ones who are open to saying, yeah, this is a modality I'm open to trying, have literally, it's like a light switch. It's unbelievable. And it's so exciting to see these people that I really care about, that I've known for years or what have you. And really being able to step into their own and not just feel better, but also access their own genius and their own power, and like find that little niche where they feel at home, you know, a sense of belonging. And that's a lot of what people say is when they enter the records, they feel like they've come home.
Yes. Yeah. And
It's
I
so
think that's
beautiful.
so powerful for a lot of people, or maybe star seeds, like that's common, right? I know since I was
Yeah.
young, I had the feeling like I don't quite fit in or I don't belong. Like I always had the knowing that my soul chose to incarnate here on earth, which I think some light workers kind of struggle with that too. Like, why am I here? Should I be here? Like I always knew I intentionally wanted to be here, but it was also this feeling of being like an outsider. So when I
Yeah.
started to realize, oh, okay, like this could be the energy of like a star seed, you know, my soul chose to be here for a reason, but I'm bringing in specific information and knowledge that's meant to shift planet Earth. And I feel like a lot of people that follow you too, Laura, like your clients, my clients, like we feel that, right? We're star seeds and we don't feel like we always fit in or belong, but our soul absolutely chose to be here. And I think we're really seeing that right now with the ascension on the planet. Like people are starting to realize, oh, okay, and I have a part in this. And this is what I love helping spiritual entrepreneurs or light workers do, is step up and like own that as well, right? Like, yes, if you feel that pull, that call, you have something special to share with the world. It is meant to be heard, right? Like your message is meant to be heard. Your product is meant to be out there. Like it is part of the collective shift that we are experiencing. And have you found, Laura, like more and more people are feeling that call lately, even with everything that was going on with like COVID and just other huge changes, right?
Yeah.
Like everything going on right now, right? Like people are feeling that call is stepping up. Mm-hmm.
I see it. I see it exploding in that way. And people that even that I've known for years that have really been very set in, listen, my life's good. Like I'm pretty happy. I'm chilling. I'm doing my thing. And starting to realize in recent weeks, even and months, but particularly weeks, saying, you know what? I think I need to share something, like, you know, and and they're confused about it because they don't really know how to go about that, or like where to take the first step or how to implement this. But it's so beautiful because they're waking up to that, right? And it's like, I feel like this seed has been planted, you know, and now it's starting to grow. And I'm like, I actually feel like I could, not just I could benefit people, but there's people out there waiting for me, you know, for my unique energetic blueprint, for my unique message. And I know you just led a free mini series in your group. Could you share a little bit about that? Because I know that's would be helpful for people who are at that stage and really trying to figure out how to navigate it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it was all about soul aligned business expansion, the energetics, as well as the strategy. And all the replays are still available in my Facebook group, Spiritual Goddesses Healing the World Together. They're all in the announcement section. And it's definitely powerful because in that space, I spoke about the Akashic Records as well, and how accessing that space can help us align to our soul path and purpose. Astrology can do that as well. But in the records, we can really begin to see and feel into where we are being called this lifetime. Because I know for a lot of people, even they sometimes we come in and we know what we're here to do and what we're here to share 100%. Other times we come in and we know we're here to help heal the world. We know there's a message we're meant to share, but we're not completely clear on that. And the Akashic Records can begin to give us clarity around what that message is. So I talk a little more about that in the series, and also just in feeling confident in sharing your unique gifts with the world, because they need them now, right? A lot of fear can come in for people, right? Like the fear mind can take over if we allow it to, but we have to be stronger than that. And we have to dig deeper than the fear and ask on a soul level, what is my soul calling me to do? And really lean in and trust that, right? It's like, and kind of like you had touched on this in the beginning where you said, I just show up and I'm a channel for what wants to flow through. So I think the more we can shift into that space, the more the fear takes the back seat too, because we realize like it's not all on us and it's really not about us. Like it's about the message and the healing that's meant to flow through us into the world. So when we kind of take our ego out of it and just put it aside, it doesn't hold us back as much, and the fears don't become as big. It's like, okay, I'm a channel for this message. I can let it flow through, and it helps everything. It just makes it easier.
Right. And just like you were talking about earlier, just like emotions flow through. I mean, I think I posted last week or 2 weeks ago about, the fact that the average human has 21 mood changes a day,
Oh,
that it's very normal for us to move in and out of mood states, and so if we allow those to pass, just like, because emotions are energy, emotion, energy and motion, right? So we allow that to move through us, just like we allow this energy to move through us. And it's interesting when you were talking about fear, because I know that you've talked about before the two different types of fear. And I felt that so palpably as well, because for me, it's funny. I don't want people to think that, oh, if I have any fear or anxiety, then okay, that's something I need to move past. Because for me, sometimes it's the anxiety is very clearly showing up before I'm about to level up. Right before I'm about to have this huge expansion. And so typically for me, like, I don't really get it anymore, but if I have it for, say, if it comes, it'll come for like a week or two, and I'll have it for those couple of weeks, and I'll know very clearly that it's calling me forward. It's almost like a tug, right? I like to view it as like a rope that's tied around my waist, and it's kind of like the universe saying, like, come on, let's go. And it's not only heightening my frequency because I'm coming from here up to here. So I'm feeling a little bit of that rub, right? Like that friction when you're moving forward. And so it creates a little bit of that, what feels agitating or restless inside of you, but it's really a pull forward.
Absolutely. I love that. And I think knowing the difference is so important because we respond differently to each of those types of anxieties or fear, right? Like anytime it's like our body gets used to being in a certain energy or frequency, right? Like our comfort zone, what is standard to us. So when we're up leveling or growing or we're working toward a goal, right? It could be something we want to achieve in our life or business. It's at a different frequency. So to get there, it's going to feel a little uncomfortable. It's going to feel like a stretch because you're not there yet, right? It's like your body's used to playing in the energy where you are now, but your goal is at a frequency that's just like different. You could say like a higher frequency. I just see it as like a different energy. So you have to lean into that. And when you do that, your body might go into panic mode a little bit. Like your human self is going to be like, is it safe to do this? Can we do this? And that's where it's so helpful to have that guidance from the records to say, it's okay, it's safe here, and allowing your body to adjust, right, to that new energy and not go into overdrive, because that's where we can sabotage ourselves a lot too. And I see this in business with people when they go into even like a new income level and their body may get like panic, can we do this? And then they go back down again. You don't have to. But it's that panic of like, can I maintain this? Is this safe? And I'm just using this as an example. This can happen in any area of our life, right? So we want our body to feel safe at these new levels. So we also want to acknowledge how our body is feeling, how we can allow it and support it and feeling more comfortable and safe in this new energy that we are playing in. Because we definitely do want to lean into that fear. Like I call it the Yaira fear. Fear, right? Yaira, that we want to say yes to. That's very different than like the anxiety that's like the inner critic or the same fear patterns that we recognize, right? Like I know with my journey of anxiety, or especially in the past, I'm going to put it in the past, there'll be the same fears repeating, right? It's like the same thing. And that's a very different energy than the fear of expansion or the fear when you're moving into your next level. So knowing the difference between the two is really key as well.
I agree. And I love that you use the word safe too, because that's what gets me so excited about the Akashic Records. Because I feel like whether we're talking about trauma work or inner child work or expanding your business or addressing your fears and identifying the difference between these anxieties, it's the safest, most compassionate and unconditionally loving space that you can operate in. So it's, I mean, better than any, even the best therapist in the world, right? It can be, we're human beings, right? So being attuned to this frequency and allowing spirit to be able to provide that safe and compassionate space for us, it allows us to secure a foundation at the same time that we can be vulnerable. So it offers us that opportunity to be vulnerable, but know that while we are getting the work done, we're also receiving healing and love and compassion and with tender hands.
Yes. Yeah. And I always say that. And even when I'm doing clearings or activations for people in the space of the records, I'll hold that intention as well. Only that which is in the highest and best good comes through. Only that which is in the highest and best good is, activated right now. And I fully feel in the records, we can trust that anyway, but I think it helps us feel more safe in that space, just knowing like we can attune to that, we can trust, we are safe, we are supported, we are held. And you know, it makes a world of difference in going to any next level when we have that feeling of safety, support, and comfort, so we don't sabotage ourselves, right? So it's not like an up and down, or we make progress and then we go back. It's not really meant to be like that. Like, we're meant to continually evolve and grow. So it's only our ego or human self that would slow down that process of evolution, right? Which is fine. Again, we're not like, it maybe sounds like I'm beating up on the ego. I'm not. Like, we have to honor our ego, but we also need to know the place, right? It's like, I see our ego as our persona, and that's beautiful. That's me as Kara, you as Laura. Like, how amazing is that we get to experience life in these bodies and with this name. And we just also need to know, honor it, and know what the limitations are and when it's holding us back, so we can also be attuned to something greater, right, than us, right? Source energy, God, however we see it, to allow that to flow through us.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, and allowing the energy to dictate. Like, I even I was talking to somebody about this last week, and it was like, you know what, just take the day, take 24 hours to just listen to your energy, you know, allow your energy to dictate. Just take out everything that you're supposed to do, everything that you feel is a should, and just wake up and say, okay, do I feel like staying in bed? Do I feel like, what does my energy dictate? Do I feel like getting up and taking a shower? Do I want to eat breakfast first? Do I want to go outside? Do I want to meditate? You know, and allow your energy to be your boss of the day, you know, and then see how you feel at the end of it, because you're going to find that you're still getting, in fact, you're actually going to get things accomplished more efficiently, to be honest with you, because you're honoring your energy and you're not in resistance to that. I know one of the things that I was really in resistance to when I started this path was integration, because I was like, oh, this is so exciting, and I love this so much, and I love being in the records and bringing through information. And as much as I was excited about that, it was still an egoic level of excitement, right? And my energy was really saying, take it now, okay, great, you did that work. Now take a break and listen to your energy and listen to your body and take time to integrate. And that was very hard for me. And I think the same goes with our businesses, right? As like, we have an idea or a download or whatever coming through for us, and it's being able to take the time to really integrate that and create or develop it into what the records are intending before we then, you know, go and download 12 more things. Now we can still bring in a lot of those because that can happen.
Definitely.
Yeah, because it's exciting, but you know, I almost feel like it's helped me put on my big girl pants and mature a little bit, right? Because it's like, I'm gonna listen to my body, I'm gonna listen to my emotions, I'm gonna listen to my energy, rather than just steam rolling ahead, because these are the goals and the agendas that I've set for myself, or that I feel are expected of me, you know?
Oh, I love that. So true. And that's still something I'm feeling into. I think my Aries rising in my chart, I'm an Aries rising. And I'm always like, all right, let's go. Yeah. I also have so many ideas coming in, right? So it's exactly what you said. It may be like one that's still like, by the time I feel I'm sharing the idea with the world, I have so many others that are already coming in of what I want to do. It's like, what's that? But I feel that's a lot of creatives are like that too, right? Like, we're multi-passionate and we have all this energy. So it is helpful, I think, to like, we need to know the balance of both, right? It's like that feminine flow of opening up to our creativity and the masculine structure. And we need both in our business. So that's what I love to help women create, right? Because they're both key. So in the records, we're being this divine channel, we're allowing what we need to flow through, but then also having some of those strategy pieces that sometimes we don't know, like, especially if we're just starting out our business, right? I think once we have the foundation, then there's so much more room for creativity and play. But some of those foundational pieces of like, how do I grow my community? How do I get my message out there? How do I package my services in my work? Some of that really, you can benefit from having like that 3D practical strategy when it's combined with the records. So it's like, okay, what's aligned for you? What feels right for you? So it's not strategy that's, because someone else is doing it, you should implement it. It's like, what's actually aligned with your blueprint here, and creating strategy from that space makes a world of difference. Because I've noticed for so many light workers and healers, like the traditional way of doing business didn't work. Like, and I know it didn't work for me, like the traditional way of, okay, this is how you find your niche. This is your client clarity profile. It's like, this is so boring and it doesn't feel right. And it's like, it's cutting off a piece of who I am. Like, it just felt so off.
Yeah, that's exactly how I mean, I feel like I went from, uber masculine to like uber feminine to like finding that balance. And I'm still working on that a little bit, but that's why I hired a coach.
Exactly. That's why we all need mentors. We're not perfect at
Exactly.
everything.
I'm like, I need somebody to hold me accountable. I need a little bit of a kick in the butt and a little bit of direction. When I am, like you said, implementing this into the 3D, right?
Yeah.
Like taking all of this feminine flow and all of this intuitive energy in these downloads and being able to say, okay, now how do I actually put this together in a way that I can present it to the world? And so that's really helpful. And I honestly, I see it as something that offers me, like we talked about, that safe foundation in the records, right? It offers me that opportunity in human form as well. So it's a beautiful way to marry these different dimensions that we're existing in, so that we can just align them even more and see how they both fuel each other and how they work so beautifully together. And that's what you're doing in the academy, right? Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, the Lightworkers Rise Academy is all about this. I love this creation. And this was something that was definitely divinely like channeled and given to me, including the name and everything. Like, yes,
Yeah.
it's so meant to be in the world right now. And everyone that's drawn to this space, they're like, it's speaking to my soul. It's exactly how I feel. I'm like, well, yeah, because it's just coming through me.
Yeah.
Coming through me. So yes, basically the Academy is supporting spiritual entrepreneurs in elevating their business through having those strategic pieces that they need. So growing their audience, soul aligned selling, how to get your work out there, all of that stuff combined with the work in the Akashic Records, which actually is what takes it to a whole new level. The strategy, sure, like we need that, but the Akashic Records make sure that the strategy is working for you, that your energy is aligned, that your mindset is in a good space, that you're connected to your divine blueprint. And when you're in that space, that's where the magic happens, right? So we're bringing both together in the Academy, and it's a 5-month program. So we really dive in deeply. And even though it's a group program, it's a smaller group. And I know everyone in there, I know what your business goals are. I know what you're working toward in terms of the impact you want to make, the income you want to get to, and helping you create a plan to get there. So it's super powerful and just so supportive, because I know when I started my business, I know what it's like to feel stuck, right? Like we get to a point
Yeah.
where we're like, I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to do to get my work out there, to bring clients in. And we don't have to stay in that stuck space. Like there's solutions, there's answers. And I think that's where having a mentor or being in a program like this gives you the tools you need so you can actually move forward. And you don't have to stay in that energy of being confused and stuck and frustrated, right? Which I think we all go through in our business. But that's where I feel mentors come in, and they have a new insight for you. They have new tools for you that can take you to those next levels.
Yeah. And I think, I think for me too, it was, I felt stuck because I was so overwhelmed. Like there was so much goodness out there, honestly,
Yeah.
in this community and in this business. Like there's so much goodness, and I wanted it all,
Yeah.
and it's also, I think part of this enormously, just like we're doing today, is being able to come together with other light workers and other business professionals, spiritual professionals, and being able to say, how can we assist one another, and like, you get to serve these people with this really exciting modality, and I get to serve these people with this really exciting modality. And being able to rise together, to allow everyone to rise together and say, let's help each other, because ultimately the goal is, let's allow people a space for raising their awareness, and a space for realizing that these seeds have been planted and that this is possible for them.
Oh, absolutely, right? So many of us have the same mission. So when we come together, we just have our own unique way of doing it, and we're meeting different people at different stages of that journey, right? So when we can come together and help one another, like it feels so good. And I feel that's the new way of doing business too. Like it's already here, it's already happening. Like it has arrived, right? Collaboration and support, and like you don't have to do this alone. So it's so, and I know it can be scary too, to like reach out and ask for help and ask for support and make that investment. But again, that's the good fear. That's the fear you want to lean into. That's the next level fear. You can't run from that, or that's where we stay stuck, right? We got to lean in.
Oh my gosh. I can't even tell you. I'm going to post the link here for people, so that they have an opportunity to check out the Academy. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. So that's been one of the things that I've learned so much, right? Is taking that leap and investing in myself and or my business
Mhm.
before I've made the money.
Yes,
Right. And like before I've gotten to that point,
totally.
because that is like the ultimate leap of faith. That's the ultimate trust. That's the ultimate surrender to the universe. It's the ultimate message of self-love to myself. I'm doing this because I love myself so much that I am investing in myself, because I know, I was just talking in my group about this in Room for Healing the other day, the ROI, right? We talk about return on investment. We talk about that with finances all the time. Like, if you have the choice to put your money into a savings account that makes you 5% and one that makes you 10%, you're obviously going to put it in the one that makes you 10%. So considering the same thing with your energy, you know, like where you're putting your energy and being able to say, like, where am I getting a good return on my energetic investment? And when we invest in ourselves for our own personal development or our business development, and I believe when we invest in our business development, we're also investing in ourselves personally,
Yeah.
then the rewards are literally tenfold, probably more than that.
Huge. Yes. And I think it's
Yeah.
so important for people to hear, because often we get it backwards and we're like, well, when I have the money, then I'm going to do these investments in my healing or in my business. It's like, well, no. I mean,
Right.
you have to have that faith and that trust to do the investment now, because that's what's going to take you to that next level. Right. And it's like you said, it's having that faith and that trust. And it is kind of, it's like a leap of faith, but also you're investing in you. So I think that's where we need to give ourselves credit, right? We're not a gamble. Like, we got to believe in ourselves and what we're possible of achieving,
Right.
creating, and go into any of our healing or business growth with that mentality that we're taking that responsibility. We're ready to show up. We're ready to do the work. And when we do, it's amazing. And I know that the success I've had in my business has been from the beautiful, I mean, not that I haven't created it, but the support of my mentors and coaches, right,
Yeah.
along the way, that have helped guide me when I was stuck. And each of them playing a different beautiful role in some way, whether it's been healing subconscious beliefs to giving me some of the strategy that I need to helping me see what's possible. They've all played a role, and I'm so, so grateful for it. Like, it's beautiful that we can come together and help one another out in that way.
Well, and I've got to be honest, I think that a big piece of it too is learning the new paradigm of business and of how to do business.
Yeah.
Because I had no idea about any of that, you know? And so that was part of it, is just like, it's a whole new level of education, right? It's a whole new education of saying, like, wow, we can literally just create an entirely new way of doing business. And the people that are doing that, particularly in the spiritual community, it's so supportive and so collaborative, and literally about, there's enough for everyone. There's enough for all of us. There's no competition. There's no need for it, because we live in an abundant universe and it's constantly flowing.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I always think how Abraham Hicks says, like, the universe expands proportionately to our desires. So, you
Mhm.
know, it's always growth. It's not, and that is the shift. When we see it as abundant, then we're not afraid that somebody else may be sharing on the same thing that we are, right? It's like, that's
Right.
just our ego that would have those fears. And again, the Akashic Records helps us rise above that. We're like, oh, because in the records, like, that idea of competition or somebody that they could take something from us or take a client, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when we're in the records, it's like, what? That paradigm, that reality doesn't even need to exist unless you
Yeah.
create it. We have freedom to
Right.
create the paradigms we operate in, but we can choose to vibrate higher and tap into a paradigm that's rooted in love and rooted in abundance. And more people are choosing to tap into that. And that's a good feeling. That's exciting.
I love that. That's such yummy energy. Yes. And, you know, one of the things that you brought forward, I think it was about a year ago, maybe a couple of years ago, but one of the things that you brought forward was this idea of opening the Akashic records of our business, right?
Mhm.
Like realizing that, yes, our businesses also have Akashic records. It's not just mine, it's not just yours, but it just like I always educate people that are clients of mine, you know, it's not just, okay, tune into your records or tune into your energy, tune into your partners, but also tune into the relationship that exists
Mhm.
between you, right? Because that relationship itself is its own energetic entity, and to respect and honor it that way, and to explore it with curiosity. And so in a similar way, you brought that forward about opening the records of your business. Can you share a little bit about that and like how that's also brought forward in the community that you're opening with the Academy.
Absolutely. Well, that's a big part of the Academy. Like even in the first session, right away, I introduced people to like, okay, let's get used to interacting with the records of your business, because that's what you're meant to be a divine channel for. And it does have a unique energy. It's like it's an extension of you, but in a way, it's its own creation as well. So when you start to feel into the blueprint of your business, you get that clarity on the message you're here to share, the branding, the way it's meant to come through, the programs you're here to create. And often our business will call us upward as well, which is awesome. It'll be like, hey, you need to elevate in order to be a channel for this. So it's like, that's why I really feel like our business is the best personal growth course we could ever take.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the exciting thing for me as I grow and evolve my business is to see that growth within myself, because they go hand in hand, right? And I feel many of us who are called to be entrepreneurs, it's part of our evolution. It's like, this is going to be like, there's layers to it. Of course, it's the impact, it's the message we're a channel for, but it's also our soul's evolution. Like our business will call us to evolve. And I feel that's where we constantly, like, it'll show us where our limitations are, where our beliefs aren't aligned. And we either let that take us over and we stay stuck, or we rise above it. We look at it and we shift it. So it's that beautiful opportunity for growth and expansion. Yeah.
It is. And we talk about that marriage between like the 3D and the higher dimensions. And our business is an opportunity for us, just like our human form and our physical bodies, you know, and like we were talking about earlier with the fear, you know, but really, you know, allowing our business to be that bridge too, you know, and in that is opportunity for us to find space for our own growth and expansion. And so really, really having a relationship with it and honoring it, just like we do with the Akashic Records. Like you have to learn how to communicate with it. You have to learn how this is a mutual exchange.
Beautiful.
And the same thing goes for your business, you know, like each time I'm up leveling in my business and I'm like, oh, I can't do that. And it's like, oh, yes, you can, my friend. Let's reverse that limiting belief, right? And so it's calling me to be that next level. It always calls me and offers me an opportunity to be that next level version of myself. And that's why it's funny, because when I started this, I was like, all right, so I teach people how to open the Akashic Records, and then what? Like, then I'm not gonna have any content left. Yet I always tell people this is an infinite space. And it's so funny because the more I access it, the more it comes through. Like we haven't even explored close to the amount of information that we can gain from this space.
Oh, yeah. And it's so true. In the Academy, like I'm just wrapping up with the first group of women. And of course, the doors are open now for new people to come in. So definitely reach out if you're interested. I think Laura has posted the link, but
yes,
it's amazing. Like on one of the last, or maybe the last couple days that I was finishing up with this other incredible group of women, we were feeling into how we explored the records of our business, right? And all the clarity that came through, but feeling into the infinite possibilities that were still there to be explored, which was just a really beautiful feeling, because it was almost like a natural progression that we've got to this point where now we're ready for what's next. Like, because you can explore past lives, different dimensions. Like there's so much, there's no limit, right? Like we can.
Oh, good. So you're ready for what's next. So you can create like 6 more courses now, right? Have you gotten more downloads then?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh my goodness. Well, and that's the thing, like there's so much I want to do in the records with people too. Like I do actually have a course on anxiety as well, because again, it's healing anxiety, and by working in the records, it's like one of my favorite courses.
Yeah.
That I actually went through, I think, a couple times and listened to, because I felt it was channeled through me. I'm like, oh, this is really powerful.
Yes.
Because there's so much in the records, right, that we can access and tap into. But with the Academy, we're specifically focusing on the business side of it. But again, because our business is so related to our personal growth, the byproduct that you will see is just becoming the best person you can be, feeling better, feeling happier, feeling more abundant. Like it's all intercorrelated, like interconnected.
Yeah.
So we're focusing on that business growth and expansion. But part of that means you have to expand, especially as a healer, right? We are our business. Like we're kind of the energy behind it in many ways. So
and I want you guys to know too, just how unconditional the space is that Kara holds in her programs. I've been very fortunate to be able to do her programs many times, and you were one of the first ones that I worked with in the Akashic Records, and she has a sisterhood that's just so supportive, because it offered me accountability to be going into the records each week, which is what I really needed at the beginning. Because I thought, I know how to do this. I'll do it on my own. And then I was like, yeah, I'm kind of confused. I need some direction.
Mhm.
And just such unconditional space that she holds, you know, to be able to just show up entirely as yourself and say, these are my struggles. And not only is she like compassionate, unconditional, but she's been there for some of it too, and been able to say like, yeah, I've moved through that myself. Like she's very genuine and human about it, and saying like, this is how I moved through it, right? And this is what assisted me. And so she's just such a loving mentor with a very true, pure, genuine heart that she's entirely in service. So I would really encourage you. I know that you can grow in her container tenfold beyond that.
Thank you, Laura. Oh, that means so much coming from you.
You're welcome.
Thank
And
you.
now we're here together as business women doing it together. It's so
That's what it's all
exciting.
about, right? I want to
Yeah.
help more and more. I want everyone that goes through the academy to be out there doing videos, collaborating, getting their work out there, right? That's the point, is like more and more people, more and more visionaries doing this, more and more good-hearted people doing this, right? And receiving abundantly for their work. That's what we need in the world. Yeah.
So exciting.
Mhm.
So for any of you who do enroll through the link that I placed in the comments for the Academy, I am offering a free Akashic mapping session, and I'll even give you a little extra time for Kara's goodness, which is beautiful, because with the Akashic mapping session, we're going to open up your Akashic records, and you can bring forward really information about where do I want to be, and this can be personal, it can be professional, whatever's aligned for you. And then where you are now, and then through the Akashic records, we're going to be able to download and bring through those steps that are necessary to achieve your soul's purpose, really, to take your next step on your soul's path. So what they're really doing is mapping out for you kind of where you want to be, where you are now, and then those steps in between that assist you with getting there. So it's a really beautiful opportunity to walk away with, all right, I know I have a structure now, right, of how I'm going to move forward with my healing process or my next steps on my journey, whether that be professional or personal.
Beautiful. Oh, that's an incredible bonus, Laura. I love it. So you guys have to sign up through Laura so you can get that that goodness.
Yes, absolutely. Once you guys
And
sign up, I'll send it over through Messenger. Go ahead.
that will be so helpful leading into the academy, or anytime they want to use that throughout the course, because it's just going to even bring through more clarity, right? It's a beautiful fit with the academy. Yeah. And both working in the records. So
I know, it's so beautiful. I love like also that bridge between the personal and professional, because that's what I love so much about spiritual entrepreneurs too, is that we don't just focus on, all right, I'm a business coach and I'm going to help you with your business, you know, like you get everything all in one. You know, you get the energetic shifts and the energetic work, you get the personal work, you get the professional development, and it's all housed in one. And it's just powerhouse.
Oh, good, because that's how we do it, right? Like I couldn't imagine just having one without the other. Like, no, it's all of it. And that's how we create an amazing life, right? Not just a business that makes money. It's like, no, a business that changes the world, and a business that allows us to create a lifestyle we love. Like, it's all connected. You get to have all of that come together. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when I first started this, my goal was, I consulted with a lawyer because I wanted to open up a charity for people with chronic illness, because all I did for like, after I got sick about 4 years ago, I started looking into holistic modalities and things like that, and literally was in a space of immense gratitude for the longest period of time. Not that I'm not now, but of like, I am so grateful that I have the resources to be able to access a naturopath and supplements and holistic remedies and acupuncture and of Reiki and all of the things that I did that were not covered by my insurance, you know, my health insurance. And so to be able to create a charity to offer for people who can't necessarily afford those options, or who can't buy organic food, you know, and it was too big for me at the time, but that's my ultimate goal. And so to be able to say, we can create these businesses, not just to assist and help heal and guide people now, but also to support and create a foundation for reaching an even larger group of people and to provide service and gifts back to the community and the world.
Beautiful. Oh, I feel the power in that. And it's like I can see the energy of the charity and all the people it's going to support and assist. That's amazing, Laura. Oh, I love it. Yeah.
I'm
And
so
that's
excited.
what really I like. And I think that's when we really connect back to our soul, right? Like when I really feel into that, like, oh my goodness, with like this many coming in, what I can support, what I can do. And that's what really lights me up. And that's what we want to connect with too. Yeah, I know we have to wrap up here.
We do. So, I mean, I know we could talk all day, but I'm so thankful that you guys joined us either here live or on the replay. I really encourage you to click on the link that I placed in the comments to read more about the Lightworkers Rise Academy, to connect with Kara or connect with me individually if you have questions about it, if you want more guidance or direction, or if you have a question just that's coming up personally about, you know, is this a good fit for me? And am I ready for this step? And we're happy to hold space for you and to guide you and to even tap into divine intelligence as to whether this is the best next step for you on your path. But we're really happy that you joined us today. Please feel free to tag us in any comments if you have questions as well, and we can come back to this video and answer them. Anything else, Kara? Do you want to leave them with anything?
Oh, this was so fun today, Laura. I guess just like a main takeaway is follow that calling in your soul. If you're feeling that pull to share your gifts with the world, you're meant to do it. You're here to do it. And Laura and I would love to support you.
Yes, we would.
And hold your hand in that space and just encourage you to step into that highest potential and create that life you were called to live. So thank you for having me, Laura. This was so fun.
You're so welcome. Thanks for being here, guys. And we will see you very, very soon. Bye for now.